So the 50-50 situation has yet again developed. This time, the newest additions to the group after its reformation have been revealed. And people have thoughts. Hey guys, just wanted to pop in real quick and let y'all know that I will be discussing some sensitive topics in this video. Nothing in graphic detail, just the mention of some sensitive things. So if you can't or you'd rather avoid that kind of thing, I would suggest just skipping this video. I promise I'll be back with something more lighthearted next time. Alright, that's it. On with the video. Before we get too deep into the topic, it's good to have a baseline understanding of why fans care about this in the first place, which means I'm going to speed run the lawsuit between the former 50-50 members and the company they used to reside under, Attract. While I will cover the big story beats, I highly recommend doing research into the details if it at all interests you during this video. Here are some resources that have documented and translated all statements from the former members, including the allegations being made. In June 2023, the members of 50-50, Kina, Sayena, Jihyo, and Aran, filed for an injunction to suspend their exclusive contracts with Attract. They alleged that the agency had failed to provide proper support for their activities, including mismanagement of their health issues and not properly disclosing and distributing profits. The specifics include Sayena being pressured to diet excessively, developing anorexia and bulimia in the process. Jihyo experienced body tremors and blackouts before debut, was diagnosed with a panic disorder, and suffered from kidney issues due to the enforced dieting. And finally, Aran required surgery at one point due to indigestion and was pressured to return to work only after a week of rest. I reiterate, all of these are allegations at the end of the day. Attract denied these allegations and claimed that outside parties were attempting to poach the members of 50-50. In August 2023, the Seoul Central District Court rejected 50-50's request to suspend their contracts. The court found that the claims made by the group were insufficient to justify terminating their contracts. They attempted repealing, but the courts only doubled down on their decision. It was then that Attract threatened legal action against the girls if they didn't rescind their accusations, apologize, and continue working according to their contracts. One of the members opted to take this course of action, Kina, while the rest refused to return. As expected, Attract terminated the remaining contracts and proceeded to sue the girls for damages and compensation, totaling to 130 billion Korean won, which is about $99.7 million, hinting that the amount may grow as legal proceedings continued. Since then, there has been a concerted effort by international fans of the group to boycott any future releases and the reformation of 50-50, since any money made from those endeavors would likely be used to further fund the company's legal fees against the girls. The opinion of the Korean public has been on the opposite end. The consensus reached has been that the former members left the company knowing that no mistreatment occurred and to pursue more money with other labels. This conclusion was reached, from what I can tell, based on the fact that the girls lost their lawsuit against the company. Many perceived this result to mean that they lied, but anyone more familiar with legal proceedings will tell you that's not necessarily the case. Enter Chanel and Yewon, former contestants from the survival show Are You Next, who were recently added to the reformed group. While other new members have been introduced, Chanel and Yewon are receiving the most attention due to their pre-existing fan bases and public exposure. However, they are also facing the brunt of the backlash from international fans. Much of the negative attention being paid to them is attributed to the boycotters' implicit understanding that by joining and debuting under a company like Attract, they are enabling and co-signing the alleged behavior against the former members. There's been a lot of talk about how Chanel and Yewon are condoning abuse, or how they just don't care enough to be more selective with the company that represents them. I don't wholly agree with this characterization. First of all, debuting for a trainee is everything, so it doesn't surprise me that there are people jumping at the opportunity to do so, even under a company with a reputation like Attract's. If it wasn't these four girls, it would have been another four. And to be completely honest, if Chanel and Yewon had gotten better offers, or had better prospects in a bigger company, they would have taken it. I think the decision to debut under Attract is more representative of an unspoken truth of many trainees in any company. A lot of fans seem to be under the impression that, number one, it's easy to get into Big Four companies, which, no. The amount of people asking why Chanel didn't audition for SM or JYP is insane. For one, who is to say that she didn't and simply failed? And two, just because she participated in a survival show and was a fan favorite doesn't guarantee anything. I could redirect you to another one of my videos about temporary groups where I touch on this very subject. Simply being part of a survival show or a once famous K-pop group is not the winning lottery ticket a lot of fans perceive it to be. It increases your chances, sure, but clearly it doesn't buy you into a more popular company. And number two, that it would be any different. Let's be clear, as horrible as the alleged behavior is, it is not unique in the K-pop industry. You can look at plenty of companies, including the Big Four. Actually, especially the Big Four, who have done the same, if not worse. And yet, there are trainees being admitted into their ranks every year without being blamed for ignoring abuse. I think this particular situation is being spotlighted because Attract is a smaller company and fans have much more of a say. Not to mention how much coverage this situation got. But in the grand scheme of things, Chanel and Yeowon's choice to join Attract isn't much different than the normal trainee process. Not when, if the allegations are true, means that much of the same treatment is waiting for them around the corner. That being said, I don't agree with their decision, but I get it. When it comes to becoming an idol, especially Chanel, all of the odds are against them. We can bring up her age, ethnicity, etc., but it's likely this was the chance she needed to make her dreams come true. It doesn't make it right, but I get it. Ultimately, the blame is misplaced. While I don't agree with their choice to join Attract, Chanel and Yeowon aren't the real issue. The company is. Attacking them only distracts from the bigger problem and risks discrediting future victims. This redirection of blame allows the company to avoid accountability, as the controversy becomes centered around the individuals under them rather than the mistreatment that led to the situation in the first place. It's easy to get caught up in the actions of these two idols, because we have a name and face and a human target to identify, but doing so can overshadow the very real harm being done by the company. Since now I've mentioned both girls, but I'll be honest, the discourse is mostly surrounding Chanel. You could attribute it to more popularity, but I think it's more complex than that. The disappointment around her decision to join Attract is the same reason people expect more out of other English-speaking idols and/or idols from English-speaking countries. There is an implied expectation that idols from a Western country will be aware of and abide by social issues that are important to international fans. Unfortunately, it's been proven time and time again that this isn't the case. Despite that, this seems to be an extension of that assumption. Chanel is also expected to be cognizant of the international fans' support of 50/50 and the disapproval of Attract. However, this overlooks a critical factor. Chanel resides and works within the Korean entertainment industry, where the prevailing narrative tells a much different story. In Korea, the favor leans towards Attract, and this perspective could heavily influence Chanel's views and decisions. Being from America does not automatically make her attuned to the international fan discourse. Her environment, peers, and the media she consumes in Korea likely shapes her understanding of the situation, and expecting Chanel to fully grasp and act according to the sentiments of international fans may not be fair, given her immersion in a different cultural and media landscape. I myself visited relatives in Bosnia during my month hiatus, where I was basically cut off from everything that was happening back home, and K-pop. From the news to newspapers to social media, everything that I was being shown transformed. So much so that the only news from America that I knew about was a highly disconcerting historical event that hadn't been attempted since 1981. I'm really trying not to say the word or his name, y'all, bear with me. The only news relevant to anything, I don't know, pop culture or news-wise was literally a attempt. Regardless, I admit I have been dancing around whether or not I support the boycott thus far. The reason is that there have been no hard facts to come out of either side that really sways me one way or the other. The public has seen nothing but cut-up screenshots and medical records that apparently, prove that reported injuries weren't nearly as severe as the girls portrayed. It's basically the equivalent of messy YouTube beef. The only basis I can work off of is hypotheticals. It's possible that the company is in the right here, in which case, I don't have to do anything. The success of when 50/50 was operating brought them so much money, I doubt they're having any difficulties debuting a new group and continuing the legal fight with the girls. On the other hand, like with so many other cases, the former members are telling the truth and simply don't have the proof to back it up. If the girls were being mistreated, and I don't help the boycott, then not only would their reputation be ravaged, their health ruined, but they would also be millions of dollars in debt. That's why, despite the lack of clear evidence, I ultimately side with the boycott. When the stakes are this high, I'd rather err on the side of caution and stand with those who might be victims of mistreatment. Until more concrete information comes out, supporting the boycott feels like the most responsible choice, as it keeps the pressure on the company and amplifies the voices of the former members who might be in need of support. But it is also because of that uncertainty that I cannot tell you how to feel about the boycott in general. Overall, I would just advise and highly encourage anyone to continue learning and to stay informed as more details emerge. Regardless, that will be all from me today. See y'all next time. Bye-bye.